with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? John Impemba here with James Grande in an on-time NBA DFS Playbook live show, 5 p.m. Eastern time.
It's 5:01. It's 5:01.
We had the intro going at 5. We're on time today. 7-game main slate for everybody here today. Pretty fun slate potentially. A lot of maybe impactful injury news on today's slate for the 7-gamer here, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Some nice game totals, some fun matchups here. We did the preview show. Hopefully you all checked that out this morning here to get an idea of where we may be looking to go for tonight's main slate. Grande, how we doing, man?
Happy Friday. We are doing well. We are locked in. It's an interesting slate. The Warriors ruled everybody out. We don't know if Jokic is going to play, and that's an hour after every other game today. So, yeah, I think it's a fun slate overall.
The Jokic news obviously is major, important. It is the late night game here, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We've seen the impact that him not in the lineup has on some of the crucial pieces to your lineup builds. So you kind of have to make the decision as to whether or not you include him in your lineup and then give yourself pivots, but really just pivots for that game, assuming we don't get that information until 8:30, which is the latest we would hope to. But then, where would you be pivoting to in a Brooklyn-Denver matchup, right? There's not a ton of matching salaries there. You'd have to have multiple pieces to make moves. So those are going to be some of the tougher decisions that we're going to have to figure out for today's slate here. There are obviously, other key names that we're looking at, not only Jokic, but Towns, Halliburton, Turner, DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole. Obviously, all of basically Golden State was ruled out earlier today. So we have all of that going down for us. So it should be an interesting way to build some lines today.
Yes. And one comment, God's plan. Please don't address tardiness versus non-tardiness. I'd appreciate if you specifically don't comment on that. Thank you very much. Let's continue with the show.
All right, we're here. Golden State Day. He's not wrong, though. Let's be honest. It is a Golden State Day. I agree with him. We're going to be definitely.
I didn't comment on that comment. That wasn't the comment I made a comment to.
James is not feeling sick today, too. I guess scan the man, ready to go. James sounds good. Said yesterday he got the fresh fade. He's feeling strong. He's got his Yankees jersey on. The third place New York Yankees this season, probably likely to happen.
Third place. Brother, you got Lucas Giolito going every fifth day, giving up 47 home runs. I don't want to hear it.
We have Walker, Yankee Killer Bueller holding down the rotation.
Yeah, let's see if you got Jaren Duran over 500,000 this year, huh? I'm sure he's going to be really happy that they didn't pay him $500,000. So you guys
they'll pay him. Anyways, this is a basketball show. We go position by position here for those of you who are new. If you guys want to go check out, we got a 7-day free trial going on. FantasyAlarm.com/win 7-day free trial. First month after your 7-day free trial, your promo code Let's Win gets you there for less than $20. $19.98 for that first month after your 7-day free trial. Come check out what all the fun is about here over at Fantasy Alarm with the NBA DFS Playbook, which is out live for all of you to check out today as well. Again, for those of you who are new, hit that like, that subscribe, that share button. We go position by position. We finish it all off by building a lineup at the end of the show. You got any questions or comments, we'll bring them up like the Prince. Who we putting in first? Well, we'll figure that out at the end of the show, Prince. We gotta we gotta go through it before we figure out who's number one.
Let's slow it down, to Prince. Yeah. Slow it down. We'll get you there, brother.
We'll get there, Mr. FanDuel player. We do talk FanDuel. If you guys got FanDuel questions, feel free to throw them in there. Power, the midday downgrade to TJD. Looney to the moon. Go hammer the Looney rebounding props tonight if he's the guy for them at center tonight. So anyways.
You didn't want to recite the Looney to the Mooney bar that Power dropped? Maybe in the next feature.
I'll save that for Jello.
I was gonna say maybe featured in the next LiAngelo Ball.
You hear Pat Bev dogging that song, so it's garbage.
Pat Bev just wants to be different than everyone because every other person in the world likes the song. So, I mean, he just
Josh
wants to
Hart
be different.
exposes the Thunder tonight, says Anthony. Maybe.
How?
Like,
in which way? Like, hopefully not himself.
I mean, there is definitely a path always to
right.
Josh Hart having himself a good game, and then Jared Butler on lock if Poole is out. I mean, Poole was out the other day. Butler only played 20 minutes and he nuked. So, we'll talk about that as well. So, we do again appreciate all of you guys in here. Your top price plays currently potentially playing tonight. Jokic 12-3, Giannis 11-8, SGA 10-4, Tatum 10-3, Towns 10K. Your players up over $10,000. Next time Ja's out, we'll bring back the Bane impression. Yeah, we'll bring it up. Anthony's loading up the Knicks versus the Thunder.
Wait, let's go to point guard, please. You
All
got
right.
places to be. You're on the fantasy.
I do.
Alarm
I'm on the
PM.
Fantasy Alarm Show tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. So if we don't get to the show by 5:55, James is finishing solo.
Go to point guard.
Not the first time. Point guard, $10,400 for SGA against the Knicks. Maxey, $9,400. My favorite play against the New Orleans Pelicans. You got Lillard. You got Brunson. We'll stop there. Where are we looking to go?
SGA is great in any setting. Good defense, bad defense, monsters, 10 defenders, doesn't matter. He's scoring. 27 shot attempts against a top 10 defense, 23 shot attempts against a top 10 defense in back-to-back games, 40 against Minnesota, top 10 defense. Like, it matchup proof. So if you want to play SGA, by all means. Tyrese Maxey is great. You alluded to your favorite option. Hard not to with McCain and Embiid drumming off the floor, 34% usage rate, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Just missed shots, right? The other night. It's not going to hurt having Paul George back, taking some pressure off Tyrese Maxey. That just doesn't. That's not how. Like, Paul George implementation does not impact Maxey negatively. That only will help him. So I like Tyrese Maxey quite a bit.
We're not doing this.
Overpriced. We're not. Let's just move on. Damian Lillard in a really tough spot. If you want to play him, you can. Orlando obviously getting Paolo back is competitive with or without these guys. Like, Orlando is always just sticking around, being annoying to everybody. Just like not a fun game environment in general. Kind of just, large field stuff for Dame. And same thing for Brunson. I mean, I couldn't disagree more with Anthony. Like, the only thing that you can really like about the Knicks tonight is that they're going to play a bunch of minutes. Yeah. Towns is appealing because Oklahoma City is a bad rebounding team. They're 29th in rebounding. So, like, Towns had 20 rebounds against them. Went for 60 because, Towns, if he's going to get 20 rebounds, you're going to get a 20-20 game out of him most likely. So, like, that path doesn't really present itself for Brunson when he's dealing with Cason Wallace, when he's dealing with Dort, when he's dealing with SGA. I mean, they just have 20 different guys.
He didn't even get there when they played earlier this month. Zion suspended one game for violating of team policies. Zion's back for 2 games and gets suspended.
So he's not playing tonight.
Zion's not playing tonight then.
Is he appealing?
It's a team.
Can he appeal the team suspension?
What did he do? Did he go to KFC? Like, what happened?
Oh,
like,
John.
What
he
team
looks
policy?
Good, dude. He looks good.
What team policy could he have violated?
Why was that the first place you went?
Because he has an eating problem. It's been well documented.
I'm done. I'm done with all of you people. I'm done. I can't take it.
See, MD says it right here. Eating too much. He knows.
Yeah, MD also just said
homies, what food did he eat? Listen, this isn't a me thing. This is what everybody immediately goes to.
MD's first comment was also SGA's overpriced, and he's gone for 60 in like 4 of the last 5 games. So let's not take too much stock there, okay? Let's just.
I'm just saying. He could have had the Pizza Hut buffet. We don't know. Pizza Hut buffet's goated.
You guys are just the worst.
You
guys are.
All right.
You might as well just.
Anywho, back to Brunson real quick before we get off topic, James. Don't throw us off topic. I have somewhere to be at 6:00. We got to stay on track here. Brunson just had this matchup. He went 9 of 23 shooting in that game and had less than 40 fantasy points at the same price. That is not what you need from out of Jalen Brunson. You need way more production at 9K. So, no thanks there on Brunson, and no thanks on the Knicks against the Thunder. That just isn't. I don't see how that works out well. Now that there's no Zion, though, DeJounte and McCollum look awfully appealing here. You know,
I got nothing to say.
Yeah, you do.
I got nothing to say.
You got it. You listen. I
got no
get it.
takes.
He's your favorite player.
I got no takes. No takes for the rest of the show. I have. I mean, there's obvious interest in Pelicans. I mean, obviously, this is like a very weird situation that Zion's just suspended immediately upon returning. But the Murray, dude, if Murray doesn't play, then we're talking about literally, is it Pelicans? It's Pelicans versus Warriors almost at this, if Murray weren't to play. McCollum has been good scoring. The peripheral stats have been really bad for him lately. The potential assists, potential rebounds are down. Obviously, like playing with DeJounte impacts the assists. Playing with Misi and was going to be Zion. Might have written up his under rebounds today because Zion was back. Whoops, that's going to bite me in the butt there. But yeah, I mean, McCollum and DeJounte are obviously more appealing. And truthfully, probably even with, I wonder what the ownership pivot is here. Because they're priced around like Levine, who's getting a lot of ownership today. They're priced more than Paul George, who's getting a lot of ownership today. So I wonder how like those ownerships kind of shift because, I do like Paul George quite a bit. Obviously, no Zion hurts the competitiveness of this game because, dude, Zion was like a +6 against Minnesota the other day. Like that game was competitive in large part due to Zion being back. So there is just not a lot to like about this game, like from a competitiveness standpoint. But if it's going to stay competitive, Murray and McCollum are obviously the reason why.
He was late to team activities.
Interesting. Okay. Good. I respect. I respect franchises that do that too, especially when it's a star involved, right?
Yeah,
like
hold them accountable.
The accountability, exactly.
If Jordan Poole's in, obviously it's a good spot there for him against the Bulls. Jamal Murray again, if there's no Jokic big time plays here. We have Boston, Sacramento going up against one another. What are your thoughts as we hit this mid tier?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sacramento is interesting. No De'Aaron Fox, right? No De'Aaron Fox. If Sacramento keeps it close and just shoots the ball and keeps up with Boston, I mean, Malik Monk is at the top of the list as to why. He has been awesome lately. They've won 5 in a row. I don't think that's a coincidence that like it's correlating with how well Malik Monk has generally played outside the Miami game. So I do think there's appeal in tournaments to Malik Monk. I think if you're doing something like that, you want to get Boston exposure on the way back because it's obviously there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Yeah.
Derek White is fine at this price. I think it's more secondary with a full team. I think that we're going to have a problem usually with Boston when they're like their top 8 is just healthy because it's just going to be so balanced. I mean, last game we saw Porzingis go off. This game we could see Tatum, Brown. Like it's just going to be constant flip-flopping of like stars being stars. And so like you could play Derek White in tournament. Giddey's fine in tournaments always. Westbrook and Murray, as you mentioned, are super appealing. I think Keith brought up an excellent point in the Discord.
Yeah.
With the Jokic point, like if you're interested in playing Jokic, you have to have a 3v3 kind of slated because it's a very inexpensive Brooklyn team that they're playing, and like you'll just leave a ton of salary on the table. So like you probably need to have a 3v3 swap ready for Jokic, which I've toyed around with as well.
Sure.
So like Westbrook and Murray are at the top of that list, obviously, if Jokic is out.
Agreed. Working our way down into the value tier. Obviously, we've had some questions on some values on this slate here. Anthony asks, is Paolo Banchero in or out today? He's in. He's expected to return today. So
he's officially listed questionable, but he is playing.
So you have, Cole Anthony's down here. Drew Holiday is down here. Schroeder tonight. What are your thoughts as we work our way into the value range?
Yeah, for this tier, Dennis Schroeder is probably the guy. And by probably, I mean, he's the guy. I mean, they ruled out Curry. They ruled out Draymond. They ruled out Wiggins. TJD is questionable. So 4 of their 5 starters, no Kuminga. So 5 of their top 6. Podziemski, 6 of their top 7 potentially out. 5 confirmed of their top 7 out. Schroeder did play a lot of minutes last night, 35. I don't expect that to change. We saw earlier in the year with and Casey, just a thought here. Zion is suspended from the team this evening, so he is not playing.
Playing, Casey. Not tonight.
Not tonight. That just happened. So if you haven't been on Twitter, that just happened. So he's not playing this evening. He was late to the flight. That's what he was. Late to the flight per Shams.
The food court lines at the airport can get long sometimes. There's a lot of people traveling.
So Dennis Schroeder, $5,400, point guard, shooting guard, core play. I do think Cole Anthony is a little bit interesting. The ownership is still there to an extent, not as much as it's been. But I do think there's still really good numbers with Paolo on the floor and all those other guys out, Franz, Mo, and Jalen Suggs all being out. So there's still a very high ceiling for Cole Anthony. While Paolo is going to obviously be limited being back too.
I would imagine so. All right.
Yeah. Those would be the 2 plays. Like you mentioned Holiday, he's fine. He had a really good game the other night. I think it's going to be very up and down for Drew Holiday, night to night basis. I mean, he took 6 shots the game before in 34 minutes. Those are also outings that we could see from him, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's actually been pretty consistent of late, he's been better lately than he was to begin the season in terms of fantasy production there. So probably a good cash game play. And Schroeder probably rather chalky tonight. We have the Jared Butler question at $3,900. We talked pretty extensively about him on the morning show. Still only getting 20 minutes. He's just nuking basically whenever he's on the floor. He had a crazy high usage rate the other day as well when he was on the floor. They're not extending him at all. So even without Poole, you almost need him and Carrington out for Butler to play more minutes. Yeah,
and Carrington's not even on the injury report.
Right.
We don't know about Jordan Poole, so it's a TBD on the Butler stuff. Obviously, he can be part of your Jokic lineup too. I think we had a post about that in Discord. Our boy S. Penny, he's pairing them, and obviously that's all contingent stuff. But if Poole's out, I mean, he's going to get his 20 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Do you think that there's a chance that Pelicans go triple guard lineup and use Alvarado in the starting lineup tonight?
I guess possibly. I mean, I feel like Brandon Boston definitely starts.
We saw JRE start the other day.
JRE. Starts. So I think that's probably the way they go, but I guess anything has potential here. Did we have anybody else? Looks like Ellis is a small shooting guard then, I guess. Right? Yeah, it looks like he must be a shooting guard. All right, small shooting guard then. You mentioned the Levine. Levine's up here at $8,100. It was a really good spot against the Wizards. Do you find yourself looking to spend up at shooting guard today?
Sure. I think Zach LaVine is the guy you spend up on if you're going here. I will say it's hard to necessarily get a read on the Levine versus Washington game last time. This was the game that Coulibaly left. He played 8 minutes. Yeah. We know that Bilal Coulibaly is going to guard Zach LaVine, right? He's their best perimeter defender. He is a good defender, and that's what matchup he's going to get. It hasn't necessarily mattered lately. Zach LaVine scored 37 against Atlanta. He scored 30 plus in 5 of the last 6 games overall. He has been an absolute bucket, and this game has 240 implied points, 242 now, 242 and a half. And I think the best part about LaVine are the minutes lately. We saw 40 in the Spurs game. He was tracking for that in the Indy game if that game hadn't blown out. So I do think Levine and like Paul George are your like two options above like 7,500.
Sure. Yeah. And again, I don't really have any issues with Paul George. Obviously, we wanted him to come through that last game. He didn't really, but you pointed out in pretty much every other game where there's been Joel Embiid, he's put up some big numbers here. So definitely now no Herb Jones, no Zion. Like they're just losing guys to defend him. So I definitely don't mind the Paul George spot there. Mid-tier options, I guess, still waiting on some injury potential news there, but like, Kelly Oubre also shooting guard eligible has been really good lately. You have the Brooklyn plays here without D'Angelo Russell, without, Cam Thomas and Johnson in the lineup. Any favorites in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, Oubre is super solid, 5,700. He's going to generate a pretty healthy amount of ownership. Brooklyn, I don't know what to make of like Ben Simmons' implementation here with the current iteration, getting Sharp back as well. I don't think they're going to extend Simmons the 30 minutes that they had been giving him, just given the already like multiple injury breakdown that he's had. So, if you land on Keon or if you land on Zaire Williams and they make shots, then they're definitely fine. I mean, Denver's not like the best defensive team. So if you want to play Jokic and you think that this game could stay competitive, like someone's keeping them in the game. But like at the end of the day, Buddy Hield's 41, Moses Moody's 36, Lindy Waters 33.
Yeah, all the big value guys on here.
Yeah, G Santos 3K.
Yeah, we'll see what that starting lineup ends up looking like, but you could play pretty much any of the Warriors plays here. Hield probably the preference.
He's the highest rostered player of the slate. Yeah,
40%. And again, Golden State in general is all super high rostered. Hield almost 50%. Lindy Waiters 26% there. Waters 26% there. So not too surprising. We'll talk about someone else when we move on to the next positions over here. Anyone else you just wanted to highlight? We had the Keon Ellis shout out from MD, said Ellis would outscore SGA today. I don't see that happening, but in 49 minutes he did give you 40 fantasy points.
I mean, that's just a troll, but I mean, he's fine.
Okay.
Like he's
small forward position. Again, Jason Tatum is 10-3. We have the aforementioned Josh Hart from Anthony at $7,800 here. You can play PG. DeMar DeRozan, no Fox, $7,100 has been a favorite play of yours of late. We got MPJ. What are your thoughts on this mid-range?
Yeah, to Anthony's comment. So you think OKC shuts down Towns and Hart? I think those two are the most live to have success because they contribute in other ways. OKC is 29th in rebounding. 29th. Like that leads to opportunities for their two best rebounders, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns. I know Hart only had 7 last game. He also played 44 minutes. So like I would say those two would be the most likely Knicks that I would get to of their current roster. I mean, DeRozan has the highest usage rate on the team without De'Aaron Fox. It was a stretch to get him 40 fantasy points in Miami.
Monk got really hot in that game at one point too, so like takes away, but he did take 26 shots, so you can't be upset about that.
No, for sure. And 40 fantasy points in 2 of the last 3, and his price has gone down. So again, if you think that Sacramento can hang with Boston, I mean, you have to like DeRozan. Like that's, those two things like don't match up. Like if you're playing Boston, it's a 12-point spread, or I think 12 points. If you think that Sacramento's keeping it close, well, it's not. I think that's more so because both teams are just scoring a lot of points.
Sure, I would agree with that. Anybody else down here in the mid tier? Again, we kind of drop off fairly quickly. We work our way down 6K and under. Any favorites for you?
I almost have no interest in this tier. It's another position that I'm just going to the value. Lou Dort, 4K. He's going to play monster minutes, really cheap. I mean, 4K is like, he doesn't have like an insane ceiling, but there is a ceiling at 4K if you want to get a little different away from like Golden State value. I mean, Moody, looking through some of the games that Steph and Draymond have sat this year, Moses Moody has played mid-20s minutes in like both those games or the last couple. Pair that with no Pajemski, pair that with no Wiggins. Like, there is there is a definite opportunity for Moses Moody tonight to get on the floor and just stay on the floor. So we'll even see if he starts. There's an outside chance. We've seen Moses Moody in the starting lineup at times. Brandon Boston, as you alluded to, $3,500. He's obviously sucked in terms of like shooting lately. Like no shots are going in. He's also been like largely consistent this year for the Pelicans anytime he's gotten extended. So like if you see him in the starting lineup, there's no reason to think he wouldn't close in a blowout or just if he's starting play big minutes. So I'd be good with some Brandon Boston as well, 3,500. If there's no Jokic, Julian Strawther, 3,400. We talked about him on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Played 23 plus minutes in 6 straight games. Some with Jokic, some without. I think the key there has been no Aaron Gordon. And just like cutting out, they playing like a 7-man or 8-man rotation, basically him, Peyton Watson, Westbrook, and like a few minutes of DeAndre Jordan. That's your rotation. And Strawther's obviously benefited from that tremendously. So yeah, that would basically be the value tier for me at small forward.
Power forward. Giannis is 11-8. Again, you can never argue playing him, even in a matchup against Orlando. We touched on Tatum at 10-3. Again, there's plenty of opportunities to play him lately in a little bit of a tough stretch. This is coming off of 4 straight road games now, though. They're back home, so maybe that benefits JT here in this spot against Sacramento. Jalen Williams going up against the Knicks here. Last time against them, 20 actual, 39 fantasy points. He's $8,300. Siakam was a chalk monster the other day. He came through. What are your thoughts here at power forward?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest up here. You can always play Giannis. You can always play Tatum.
Yeah.
Can't play Paolo on a restriction. J-Dub is definitely fine in tournaments. We saw 50 plus last time out. He has that in his bag, obviously. Talked Hart. Siakam becomes immediately more interesting if there's no Turner Halliburton. I think Siakam, that game, like, if there's no Halliburton Siakam, is there or Halliburton Turner? Is there a chance that game stays close?
I mean, TJ McConnell exists,
Yeah, TJ McConnell is also 5'9".
I
think Dennis Schroeder, I'm just wondering. I'm just thinking outside the box here. Because I always think back to the COVID days, right? When we get those like 8-man teams that didn't stand a chance. And then you saw I'll never forget the Miami Heat 5-man stack that we always talk about.
Well, because they had like 8 guys, but one of them actually couldn't play because he was basically out.
True. And then Embiid had like 80, right? Yeah. Are they in? Did we just get that? We got that word that they're both playing? Because that would kill my Siakam 3 minutes ago. Yep, they're in.
Turner in, Halliburton in. Yeah.
Great. We honestly, thank you. Do not have to deal with Miles Turner or with Thomas Bryant tonight. That's wonderful. Siakam, the price is whatever with everybody in.
Definitely probably no-go now.
He's probably still too cheap, but it's just the competitiveness of that game is obviously in question.
You'd also just probably rather play like Kuzma.
If there's the price, yeah.
I mean, shots been good 2 of the last 3 games. Yeah. Got to make your shots against Philadelphia. Probably have a better shot to make them against Chicago.
Yeah.
You have Yabu at 5,500, play both center and power forward. We've been plugging him in happily the last couple of slates and have come out both sides of it. Pretty solid production here. Ownership though for Yabu today isn't what it's been. So where are you with him today?
It'll it isn't where it is, but it's also, it will be where it is in single entry stuff. I think he'll still be.
But he's been 50 plus. Now he's under 20.
I am very interested. I mean, he's had 20. He's averaged over these last 2 games 22 potential rebounds per game as well. Yeah. I know one of them was with Paul George, one of them was without, but no Drummond, no Embiid. He's going to play all the minutes he can handle.
Yeah, I took the over 7.5 rebounds on him tonight. So
I wrote up 7. I think I got it at 7 this morning on Underdog.
Yeah, DraftKings Pick 6 has a promo today. You can 40x. You go 6 for 6. Over 7.5 was one of the plays. So that I took on that one. Where are you with like Clowney tonight at 5K?
DeJounte Murray available to play.
Okay.
So I guess one Pelican in, one not. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, I don't think as high a minute ceiling as there was the other night because Daron Sharp's not on the injury report.
Sure.
We had talked about like with 8 players, Clowney was going to start and operate as the backup center, start at power forward, operate as backup center. That's kind of exactly what happened. He played 37 minutes. I don't see that being the case because they also have the option to put Simmons on the floor as like defensive center.
Yeah.
So I just think his minutes aren't 37. If he plays 30 minutes, that's not as appealing as what it was.
We had the highest rostered play here is Kyle Anderson.
Boy, oh boy.
Are we slow-mowing today?
This one's interesting because he played really well in the 9 minutes last night. And I had even before our pre-show, right? I was like, did Kyle Anderson get hurt? Or was that during the show? I don't remember when it was.
He played 9 minutes in that game.
I was like, 9 minutes? What happened? I mean, he's obviously, for all the crap he gets, he is a pretty good basketball player.
Yeah.
He's not great per minute with most of these guys out. He's not elite at anything. He's good at everything. Less athletic than everyone. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with the ownership. I think power forward's a pretty bad position today, though. So I get why people are taking the stance on him that they are.
Sure.
But if he's one of the power forwards you leave, or if he's one of the Warriors that you leave out of your player pool, I think that's fine.
Would you rather play him or JRE today?
Probably slow-mo. Okay. JRE's. It's I get the question because they're so shorthanded and he's just going to play. I would still probably lean Anderson, but I guess that it might be a little dependent on the starting lineup. If there's no Anderson in the starting lineup and Jerry starting, I think that's an easier question.
Okay. Everybody's playing for the Bucks today. They're all in, so I think we assumed that would be the case. Center. Again, a lot of things here, obviously, with Nikola Jokic. He plays. Obviously, he is a go-to spot here for him at 12-3. Otherwise, where do you look to start playing center position?
I mean, I am building, for the record, I am building with Jokic.
Yep.
No, it's, if anyone is wondering, I wonder, no clue. There's been no reporting other than him being questionable. Nothing. It's an illness. It's impossible to know. Is it the flu? Is it RSV? Is it does he have pneumonia? Who knows what he has? But I'm building with him. So I would like to play Jokic. I'm good playing alone Towns. I'll tell you that. It's obviously not a good spot. OKC is obviously good defensively. They're number one rated defense in basketball, and you can see it. You just watch them. They're
we got a starting lineup for the Warriors.
Okay. Oh, do we really? Okay, can I guess it before can I guess it?
Sure.
Schroeder,
Yeah.
Jackson Davis plays.
Yeah.
He's playing?
Yep, he's active.
Okay,
Yep.
so Schroeder, Healed, Jackson Davis for sure.
Yep.
My guess would be Moody, Anderson.
Waters, Anderson.
Waters. Okay.
Schroeder, Healed, Waters, Anderson, TJD.
Okay. They have 10 with Jackson Davis because they have the someone named Quentin Post on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
He is their 10th player, so they have 10 available. So, there's 10 available since Jackson Davis is playing, since Moses Moody's playing. So, just keep that in mind. I mean, that's probably their best starting lineup. I would say Moody might be better, but I wonder if Moody coming off the knee keeps him limited and off the bench. Obviously that is the question. But back to center, I do think Towns is, like, if he plays, very appealing because OKC is so bad rebounding, right? Like, they are 29th. They have even with Hartenstein, that hasn't changed. Like, that's been like their one thing that everyone talks about. They just are a subpar rebounding team. Towns had 22 rebounds against them. That's not a coincidence.
Moody is also active, by the way, just not start.
Yes. Yeah, that was expected. They had said he's going to play, but I'm wondering if the knee is going to limit him at all. But I do think, like, the Town shot volume is something that we probably see an uptick in. 13 shots, only 4 free throws. I know they're good at limiting threes, but I'd expect Towns to get off more than 0 3-point attempts in this game. So I'm really good with Towns in, like,
like you said, he dominated that matchup
because,
so definitely an opportunity. He's done really well in a lot of matchups this year. So, and they're home, so there's a little bit of maybe advantage to that. What are your thoughts on sort of the rest of this range in the mid tier? Then you got Hartenstein on the other side, you get Vucevic, Porzingis, Goga, Claxton at 63. Obviously, we don't know the Washington news yet, but anything in the mid tier for you?
Do you just hate Domantas Sabonis?
Yeah.
Is that why you skipped over him? Okay. Well, I will be the brave soul that talks about Domantas Sabonis. I mean, they're without De'Aaron Fox. And again, we talked about it, like, with Miami yesterday. Some of this stuff was aided by
50 minutes.
A lot of overtime, 10 extra minutes. But 10 extra minutes, man played 40 minutes in regulation. And we're talking about a guy, sans De'Aaron Fox, 24% usage, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. If you like them to stay competitive at all, I mean, look at the last few games without De'Aaron Fox. Almost triple doubles, 20 and 13 and 7 in 30 minutes against Golden State. It's just more ball in hand with Domantas Sabonis, less De'Aaron Fox, and can he stay at a foul trouble? Is ultimately, like, the only issue.
The hours more so. I get everything you're saying. Obviously, great numbers. They're 11.5-point road underdogs. I mean, out of Boston coming back home after a long road trip. Like, I don't know. I just felt like maybe there's a chance that he doesn't have an elite game. He might have an okay game. He gets you 50 fantasy points. Like, that's fine at $9,400. It's fine. Like, it's good. It's great.
I think we just have different views on the blowout stuff. Like, I'm not viewing this game. This game might blow out. Boston can do that against anybody if they make 33s, right? If they make 33s, it doesn't matter. But I do think Sabonis is probably $1,000 too cheap when you're factoring in no De'Aaron Fox. Like, when there's no De'Aaron Fox, he's a 10K plus player with massive triple-double.
All right. Well, then Sabonis included. Where's your next move to?
Probably like Hartenstein, Zinger area. I mean, Hartenstein is just pencil him in for usually like 35 plus fantasy points. And then there's usually like if we stay out of foul trouble, or even in foul trouble, like when he scores, we're getting 40. Porzingis coming off his best game of the year. He's talked about how that was the game that he felt most like himself. It's the game that he most looked like himself. And the 3-point volume still isn't even there, or the 3-point efficiency still isn't even there. So I like Zinger. I like Hartenstein. They'll probably be the next range.
Again, obviously you can play Yabu at center. TJD, how much interest do we have now? Him and Turner, I guess. Miles Turner, TJD. What do you think of this matchup?
I think that there's a ton of interest in TJD because he's still live to play in some of these blowouts. 35 minutes against Miami, right? That seems like a developmental thing. Like, I'm going to play you as many minutes as you can handle. I need you to get up to speed. You are clearly, in a stage of your career where we're trying to get you to develop more. Maybe it's to show other teams as a trade piece, we don't know, but I like TJD. I don't have a lot of interest in Miles Turner, but he's always fine at 6,400. I would say the only other thing, like, we're obviously waiting for Sar and if he's in or out, because there's a large Lithuanian elephant in the room here that may, he almost triple-doubled last game, John. I mean,
he almost triple-doubled against Chicago the last time he played him too, 14, 6, and 6.
14, 6.
I just think he's only playing this. I don't know what happened in this OKC game where he played 29, but I think he's just playing 23 minutes. I think they'll just give the other 25 minutes to the other center.
There might not be another.
Got to wait on
Rashawn Holmes. Rashawn Holmes is questionable too. I think they draw the line at Anthony Gill. They're like, all right, we can give Bagley, we can give Holmes, might have to go 30 for. Hey, Jonas, you might have to get 30 tonight. Strap in. So, if there's no Sar, ultimately, like, if there's not 8 turnovers in that last game, are we sure that he doesn't extend it? I do think the turnovers may have played and
really, like, Looney's gonna play it, but you do not want to play him. Like, there's just, I don't see a reason to jam a non-starting Kevin Looney in your lineup and hope that you get the ceiling out of that. So
I think that there's more opportunity with Draymond off the floor. There's no small ball center Draymond lineups. We don't have a definitive day in, day out.
Sure, but you can say that it makes that there's a path to playing time, but he's not starting. Minutes could be anywhere from 8 to 20, right? Like, there's not a guaranteed path to Kevin Looney. We're not forgetting Guy Santos here.
We didn't. I looked it up today. It's
Santos.
G. Like, real G's move in silence, like
G
lasagna.
Santos. We didn't forget him. It's just he's not starting. He'll come up.
We mentioned him. We said it. There's 10 guys. He's one of them, and he's gonna play.
Don't be going to Discord and like at 9:30 being like, man, G Santos poop emoji, because again, we're not really touting him in your lineup, so you can.
I don't disagree. I don't agree. I think there's 9
on that team when there's 10 guys. So, yeah.
Well, it just depends on the way you view that game. Like, they have their second leg of a back-to-back, and they ruled everybody out.
I mean, there's just low floors of those close plays. So
low floors, but also they're all free. Like, Santos is 3K and Looney's 32, and like, all these players are just super cheap. So I'm not saying, like, I'm not just jamming 6 Warriors in, but there's a case to play 5. If this game stays close, 5 Warriors probably win the.
I would agree that there are cheap plays to play. I don't necessarily know if I am. Me personally, I don't think I'm just plugging in non-starting 3K guys. It's not no.
But you personally are playing a single entry, so like, you personally, like, large field stuff, like getting exposure to everyone basically, but Quentin Post. Probably not Pat Spencer, but there's probably literally backup minutes for Pat Spencer. the other 8 guys, I mean, Steve Kerr's played a 12-man rotation this year. He's without, and that's with Steph and Draymond and Andrew Wiggins and Kuminga. Like, without those guys, you can bet 20 plus minutes for 8 guys tonight. And like, over under 7.5 players,
Sure.
20 minutes.
Is that what you want? Do you want just a bunch of guys playing 20 minutes?
I'm just saying that we don't have Lindy Waters may start. Lindy Waters may not play more than Moses Moody, or he may not play more than G Santos, who played 26 out of the clouds last night.
You're right.
Like,
and Kyle Anderson didn't play anything. So like there's chances like, that they could have done that intentionally,
Right. No, again, that could absolutely be the case, but I'm also not going to like not be open-minded about what the Warriors possibly could do tonight.
Yeah, I didn't say no. I'm just saying there's a huge risk to obviously playing a Kevin Looney, not knowing where he's going to be. We've seen TJD play a lot of minutes and heavy minutes before this year. So like, it's not uncommon ground for him to be playing a lot. So is there any other centers that you'd entertain here tonight?
I guess it just depends on what
are you playing. Do you go back to Saric, or are you just plugging Claxton at that point?
I don't know what they would do. They played DeAndre last game because they could, with like the limitations that Zubats has, like where he just doesn't, like, he's not like the most mobile player. Claxton is definitely more athletic. Wonder if they'd probably still play DJ. I wouldn't hate DJ, but the Looney, Robinson, Earl floor plays, those are probably the ones.
Say Rashawn Holmes gets ruled in and Sarr gets ruled out.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. It's interesting. I mean, that game was just so weird. Like how we've seen teams like close with like second and third string guys because they get hot. It seemed a little bit of that, right?
He just wasn't turning the ball over.
You're like, he wasn't turning the right. So like, what if Valanciunas doesn't turn like if Sarr gets ruled out and Valanciunas is out there just cooking fools and not turning it over? Are they actually just gonna be like, all right, Rashawn, get out there and give us 30 again?
It could flip. I don't think they're gonna give Valanciunas 35, but they could go give Rashawn Holmes 23 minutes tonight and give Valanciunas 25 or whatever the hell it is.
I think you would need. I would need a guarantee that Rashawn Holmes plays the minutes that he played last game.
All right. Well, you said you're building with Joker, so we have that there.
We need to have, again, for those that missed it in the beginning or just at center, you got to have a 3v3 swap because the money doesn't work for a 2v2 in that late night window.
Let's get our Warriors in here. All right. Joker. What else do we want here? We're a George guy. We like Yabu. Let's see. 58.50 for a guard in Utah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get a little different here then. Maybe we do like you get Kuzma.
Maybe let's yeah.
Kuzma like Martin.
I like that idea. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Brooklyn game time decisions. Here we go with this town stuff. I mean, just they're gonna
we'll find out
before the game. Yeah, we know.
I mean, if we don't do the Joker lineup, I mean, we can go to like Jackson Davis and then spend up. Play Maxi.
Yeah, I do that one, and then maybe what does the Kuzma money get us to?
Gets us a Zion who's not playing.
Not playing. That would be. That would
91's like not a great tier.
Levine.
It's still $1,000.
Go up from.
Do you do like maybe Yabu at center? Not play TJD. The Levine at forward.
And then you have whatever you
Kuzma.
want. 65. You have Kuzma.
There you go. Schroeder, Heel, George, Anderson, Yabu, Maxey, Levine, Kuzma.
Yep.
Example lineup for everybody here today. David wants to know our value guards for FanDuel. Let's see. I imagine it's along the same lines of the guys that we already have in here for value for DraftKings.
Buddy Hield, 43. That's a plug and play. Let's see. What do we got at shooting guard? Waters is 38 shooting guard only. That's a good one. Schroeder, 54. That's a good one. I would probably Hield and Schroeder would probably be the priorities for me there.
Would be options for tonight.
I don't hate Oubre, 65. You could also play him at small forward. It's also not really a value. I don't have like. It's
going to be Golden State. Golden State's going to be your value guards tonight.
I think Keon at 53.
Really good FanDuel play. All those steals and blocks that he gets.
Yeah. It is really good.
Couple of guys for you there. All right, y'all. Good luck tonight with your slate here. Corey, top 2 GPP plays on DraftKings. Maxey and Hield.
Well, no. Hold on. Yeah. GPP. Hield is like, I think Hield is
still play him in tournaments. He's going to be chalky, but you don't want to not have him either.
I know, but like if we're talking like GPP, you want to be like a little different, right? I'm not. I think Hield is like, my like contrarian one would be Towns. Or yeah, Sabonis is pretty popular. I'd say
right, Towns, Maxey for me. James likes Towns. Contrarian plays here for this slate. Again, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, get us in the Discord, find us on Twitter, and we'll catch you guys later.